everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Chase, and this is my review on Joker. And I just want to say I'm fresh out of it, seeing it, and it's a masterpiece. It really is, in every sense of the word. This is complete heart from Joaquin Phoenix and complete heart from Todd Phillips, and literally everyone. You could just feel everybody who participated in this movie really put all of their effort into this, and it is a masterpiece. I can totally get now why people at the film festivals would give it a standing ovation and all of that. It's it's amazing. It's an amazing film. It's one of those films that, like, throughout your life, as you watch it at different times in your life, it'll mean something different to you. So this review will be spoiler free for the most part. If I do give a spoiler, I'll definitely give you a warning beforehand. But even if I give a spoiler, it won't be like a critical thing or anything like that. I'm not gonna give away the ending or anything like that. I'm keeping it as low key as possible to, because I want people to go watch it. Like, watch this, go watch that. So I don't want to spoil anything for you. When it comes to the movie itself, like, the pacing is awesome. If you've seen the two trailers that have come out for it, those two trailers really kind of sum up the first half of this movie. Because the second half is completely wild, and you have no idea where it's going after that. So when you watch the trailer, you kind of get an idea, and you feel like you understand the story a little bit, but it definitely changes up in the second half of the movie. And I just gotta say, Joaquin Phoenix does outstanding job. I have no criticisms of the job he did. And Todd Phillips, I know you're saying that he can't do comedies anymore because of being too offensive and all those things, and that's one of the reasons he wanted to do this movie, was because basically he felt like he could have the freedom to, pour his creative juices into it. And he definitely does, because this movie really shines. And I think because it has so much heart behind it, this movie, that's what just gives it just that. It's a heartful movie. It really is. And so, getting into the actual film, Arthur Fleck slash Joker, he really is just mentally unstable from the get go. Like, he's not well in every sense of the word. He lives with his mom. Not that that's a bad thing or anything like that, but and he he's on a lot of medications. He visits his therapist. Things you've obviously seen in the trailer, and you really do actually empathize with him. And I know that was a lot of controversy. Oh, people are going to empathize with him. Whatever to the controversy. Like, you empathize with him for the mere fact that he's the central character. The story is about him. So you are automatically just going to empathize with him because he's who you're following. This is his story. You're going to empathize with him. Period. But the thing is although you can feel bad for him, you can understand his pain. Like, what he does is you don't understand what he's doing, though, to cope with that. It's like, I don't understand why you would do that. Even if even in minor things. And that's just a shine of his instability, just as a person. And there comes a real turning point about a little, almost a halfway through the movie, and it's the scene in the trailers where there's these three Wall Street like guys, and they're picking on this woman at first, and then they go and pick on him. And it's kind of funny. They explain also his laughing condition. He has a laughing condition where basically when he starts getting really nervous, he starts laughing. And so I thought that was a really cool explanation for why he laughs. So these Wall Street guys come and they start picking on him and they beat him up. Spoiler, it's not a critical spoiler, but it's a spoiler nonetheless because you don't see it in the trailer. So if you want to just skip ahead like a minute, I'll probably more than likely be done talking about this. But spoiler. What happens is he kills them. He kills all three of them. And this is like the moment where he is terrified at what he just did. And he is completely nervous and he's scared. And then in the same instance, you can see him you visibly see him realize that this is what he can do to take control. That he does have control over things. And he has just found it. And the way to do it is through extreme violence. And at the same time, you can see how terrified he is of discovering that power, so to speak. And he starts running. And this is where I really connected at this moment. I was like, I definitely know where he's coming from. Where you feel so awful that all you want to do is just run and run and run. And that's what he does. He just starts running. No real goal in mind. He's just running. And that's why I'm like, the writer here, the only way you'd be able to write something like that is if you've actually experienced that kind of emotional turmoil where your brain is just run. And so I really kind of connected in that moment with that whole scene. But that was the turning point. And he just gets literally worse and worse and worse. And I really, by the time you get to the end of the movie, I legitimately was nervous. Because I had no idea what he was going to do. I didn't know where he was going with his. I don't even know if he had a plan. Like you don't know where he's going. He doesn't, because he doesn't have a plan, but he's got something going on. But there's no hatched out like, okay, this is like what I'm gonna do. It's just he's going and he's just doing things as he's going. And so you get nervous because you're like, what are you going to do? What are you going to... And I don't think he even knows. And so, yeah, by the end, I was legitimately I kind of had a little bit of anxiety. I was like, what's going to happen in this moment? And yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. And the thing here too is this isn't a story about a man descending into madness. This is a story about somebody who, by the time you get to the end of the movie and you see how crazy he is, you also realize he was just as crazy right now as he was at the beginning of the movie. He just was holding it back, and he didn't know that he was able to actually exercise it in the way that he does at the end. So you're not seeing somebody descend into madness. You're seeing somebody finding their way and expressing their madness, because he's the same person, which is why you lose empathy for him by the end of it. At least in my case, I'm just like, I don't like you anymore. Like, I mean, you had a certain, like, I guess, likability at the beginning, but by the end of it, you hate him. It was like, this is an awful person. And so, where people, so I will say this. I know there was a lot of controversy about people saying, oh, people would empathize too much, and, with the Joker, and the fear of violence, of maybe inciting violence. I don't, no, that's not the case. Like, it's so, no, no, that's not that's not what would happen after seeing this movie. You don't leave with that feeling. In all honesty, you leave. I left emotionally drained. Putting it bluntly, I left emotionally drained. And I will say this too, kind of sidebar. The setting in which this takes place, I think it's like late 70s, early 80s, was perfect. It was perfect. I could not see this movie being as impactful and as being able to tell the story if it was set in present day, or if it was even set even before that, like in the 60s or 50s. It wouldn't work. The time period in which it is perfect for this movie. So yeah, that is my review. I highly recommend it. Go see this. It's it's awesome. It's a masterpiece. It straight up is. So thank you guys for watching this far. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and hit that bell for notifications. And yes, go see this movie. Straight up, just go see it. And as always, peace out.